Hi guys, I'm back again with part 2 of my series on discipline and homeschool, which is such a huge struggle for so many families. I know it's hard on us too. I have some really great tips and ideas for you today on how you can minimize disciplinary problems in your homeschool and have a happier, more effective homeschool experience and a true love of learning for you and your kids. The philosophy I want to talk about today is the 5 love languages. Now, you may have heard of this idea as far as romantic love, and it is very effective with that too, and I highly recommend it for you and your significant other. But we're going to talk about how the 5 love languages can help us as parents with our children and specifically with our homeschool experience. So just to summarize, the love languages mean the way that we express love and the way that we understand someone else loves us. And often what we'll do is show others love in the love language that we prefer. Most people prefer 1 or 2 of the love languages, but with children, it's actually recommended to show them all 5 of the love languages because we all know children need and crave love. So you can never show your child too much love, basically. Even if you know that they do have a preferred love language, it's good to offer love in lots of different ways. So what we want to do is think of our kids as having a love tank that we want to keep full all the time. Because when this love tank gets low, and here's where this applies to the disciplinary issue part, yes, kids misbehave. They act out, they want to somehow get that attention that they know they're missing, and oftentimes they do this in negative ways because that's just their instinct, when what they really need is to have their love tank filled, which we as parents can do if we know these 5 love languages. One more note about misbehaviors that Gary Chapman, the author of the 5 love languages, has noted in his book about children specifically, which if you want to get a copy for yourself, which I highly recommend it, I've got a link below for you to find that book and order yourself a copy. But he reminds us that a lot of times when children misbehave, it's because they're physically uncomfortable. It's not even that their love tank's necessarily empty or that they're desperate for attention. It could simply be that they're hungry or that they're tired or maybe they're too hot or too cold. So when we see misbehavior in our kids, that's one of the first things we want to think about is, okay, is this action because some physical need of the child is not being met? But if we do want to adequately fill our child's love tank, it's very important to know what these 5 love languages are, which gives us so many ideas on helping our children feel loved, which will help reduce those discipline problems that get in the way of our homeschool. The first love language is very easy to observe because it is touch. Now, if your child wants to cuddle all the time, or they run up and hug you, or even if they just want to play by roughhousing and by rolling around, then that could mean that your child's love language is touch. If this is your child's love language, then you can show them love by hugging them often, or by simply patting their head or rubbing their back. In a school setting, you might sit close to your child or put your arm around them or touch their arm with your hand. This can all indicate that you love your child and your child will understand that love because you're communicating it using their love language. With the touch love language, we do want to avoid any kind of physical punishment, spanking, or anything else that is a harmful touch is especially harmful for a child when this is their love language. The second love language is that of giving gifts. And no, this doesn't necessarily mean your child is greedy if they're demanding presents all the time, or a lot of times they'll show love to you by giving you things. I have a daughter that this is definitely her love language. She is writing things and drawing pictures and bringing papers to my husband and I all the time to present as gifts for us. So knowing that that's her love language helps me to know that if I want to show love for her, I can leave her little gifts. And it doesn't have to cost a thing. It can be a wildflower or an origami animal that you folded. If gifts is our child's love language, it can be easy to overdo it. And we want to avoid this because, of course, we don't want to spoil our children. We don't have to give them everything they want just because that's their love language. That would actually not be loving. That would be detrimental to them. So we'll keep things in balance, and the kids will learn that we love them even though we don't give them everything they want, but we still show love by giving small, appropriate gifts. As far as school goes, for a child whose love language is gifts, it can be a great motivator to use stars or stickers or any small items for achievements that they've made. The third love language is words of affirmation. This includes saying I love you to your child, but it goes beyond that. It's also praising them, telling them the wonderful aspects about themselves and how proud you are of them. All of these ways show that you love your child and they will understand that love. We can identify that this is our child's love language if they demand that we listen often and if they use words of affirmation for us. What we want to avoid with the words of affirmation love language is any kind of insult, because that's very harmful for that child. We also don't want to base our love on any conditions such as, I love you because you're so smart, or I love you because you're so pretty. That is conditional love, and we love our children always, no matter what. So we want to communicate that, especially to a child whose love language is words of affirmation. Love language number 4 is acts of service. And we might notice that our children show their love for us by helping us with things or surprising us by doing chores. Also by asking us to do special acts of service for them. Now, with acts of service, we can show love through making them something special or warming up their clothes for them in the dryer if it's a cold morning, or going above and beyond what we would normally do for them. What we want to avoid is thinking that we are our child's slave in order to show love for them. We should keep things in balance so that our children also learn independence and the life skills that they'll need in the future. And this especially applies for homeschool because, yes, as an act of service, we can definitely help our children if they're struggling with their schoolwork, but we don't want them to rely too much on us because that robs them of the experience of learning. So we make sure that they're still putting in most of the effort while showing our support and love through helping them. Love language number 5, the last love language, is quality time. And this one is apparent if your child always wants to be by your side, as you noticed my son was doing to me a minute ago, where they just can't leave your side and they always want to be with you, then your child's love language might be quality time. And keep in mind that we can show all of these love languages to any child regardless of their preferred love language. But to show love through quality time, we would ensure that we have some time with each child every day, which is one-on-one, and we're focused on them with no distractions. This absolutely communicates love and is super important for children. Again, we don't need to go overboard with this love language. We do still have our to-do list that we can't just wipe clean every day. We've got to accomplish things. So we do need to keep a balance. But the great news for homeschoolers is that quality time is easily achieved for us because we spend so much time together. It's just important to be sure that you're spending fun time with your kids and not just focusing on work and schoolwork when you're with them. So there you have the 5 love languages. I hope that this has given you some ideas on how you can show love for your kids and what their love languages might be. which if we can keep their love tanks full, it'll minimize the discipline issues that we have in our homeschool and make learning a fun experience for everybody. Please like this video, share it, and subscribe to my channel. Hope you have a great day.